Starting to see for Otzros Chaim, first pair. It's part of the some of the svarim that the Chaim is made up of. One of them is Otzros Chaim. The Chaim is made up of a number of different svarim. It was put together as in a type of almost chronological order, type of according to Prakim. And all these three svarim are just cut up into chapters and put together as one big sefer, and that's the Chaim. So Otzros Chaim is one of these few svarim. It's the most organized one of the svarim and most accepted for beginners to start learning. So we're starting in the first parak, Shari Gulin, Jewish Adam Kadam, parak Aleph. So Akdam Echas Gdola Kolos Mina Insof Baruch Hu Ad Zampin. This whole sefer is like one big Hagdama that starts from the Ein Sof and goes into Zampin, and it includes Malchus. Doesn't just talk about Zampin, it also talks about Malchus at the end. Okay, Da. Ki tchilas hakol haya metzius or pashut v'nikra Ein Sof. At first, before anything, the whole existence was metzius pashut. The existence was or pashut. There was only simple light, and this simple light was called Ein Sof, or the Or Ein Sof. Lo Hasham Shum Chalal Shum Avir Pani. There was no space, there was no void, and there was no empty space. Everything was filled with Or Ein Sof. Ela Hakol Haya Or Ein Sof. Rather, everything was filled with Or Ein Sof. And when Hashem decided to create creations for a known reason, so when Hashem decided to create creations for what the Rizal calls here the known reason, which is that he should be called Rachum L'Chaim, that he should be called kind and merciful. And if there is no one that he could be kind and merciful to, he can't be called kind and merciful. So in order for him to be called kind and merciful, he needs to have creations and to be kind to them, and therefore then he could be called kind and merciful. And this is obviously the best thing for us. This is what he's trying to do. The desire of Hashem is only good, and the desire of Hashem, the desire of good is to give good. So he's trying to give good to us, and there's nothing better than to have his rachamim and chaninus, to have his kindness and mercy. That's the best thing that we could have. And similarly, with all the different kinuim, all the different names of Hashem, Hashem wants to reveal himself to us, and these are through his names that we're going to learn about, and and when he reveals himself to us, so then we get, that is the good that we get. We get closeness to Hashem, which is the ultimate good. Now in order to create creations, he had to be mitzamtzim himself. Since now the whole existence was only filled with the light of Ein Sof, and there were no creations, there was not even space for creations. The first thing Hashem did was he constricted the light of Ein Sof in the center of this light of Ein Sof. And there, in the center of this Or Ein Sof, he constricted the light to the sides, and he left an empty void inside, in the center. And this was the first tzimtzum that Hashem did. Later on we're going to see other tzimtzumim, in different stages, in different parts, different places. And this circle was, this void was circle in all sides, meaning it was like a ball. It was circle in all different directions. And all Matzilus and all the rest of the worlds that we're going to talk about, and the ones that we aren't going to talk about, they're all inside this chol, inside this vacant space. Because before this vacant space was created, nothing in the world could exist, because all there was Hashem. And now that this vacant space was created, it's going to be the place and the space that all the worlds and everything that will ever come about later is going to be in. Because without this vacant space, there would be no space. We would not be able to exist. The Ein Sof. Makifo b'shavim kol tzadov. It's still the Ein Sof, Hashem's infinite light, is still surrounding the tzimtzum, the constriction of this light from all sides. So just to recap, we have Hashem's in the beginning, there was only Hashem's light, Hashem's infinite light, which is called Ein Sof. The first thing that he did in order to create space for creations was he made a tzimtzum. This tzimtzum was a restriction of his light, and it took place in the center of this Ein Sof. And inside the shape of it was the shape of a ball, meaning it was equal on all sides. It was equal in all different directions, whichever way you would turn. If you were in the center, it would be the same distance to the light on the outside. And Hashem created this space in order to create creations. The reason why he created creations is in order to be called Racham L'Chanam, to be called kind and merciful. And deeper reason for this is brought in other places, a few reasons. And a more deeper explanation for this reason is that he wanted to be called kind in order that he should be able to give kindness to us, that we should be able to receive kindness. And his kindness is ultimately the greatest thing that we could receive, to receive from his light. So without creations, there's no one to receive from him. So he created creations in order that the creations should be able to receive his ultimate infinite light. Okay, V'nei kasha tzimtzem atzmo, az derech tzad echad min hachol ha'ogel hazeh, himshich or derech kav yashar, echad dak kin sinor echad. Now, when he was mitzamtzem himself, through one side, derech tzad echad min hachol ha'ogel hazeh, from one side of this circular tzimtzum, circular void, himshich or derech kav yashar echad, dak kin sinor echad. He drew a light through one little line, a very thin line, like the shape of a pipe or a tzino. Or hanimshach min ha'Ein Sof el toch hachol hazeh v'mal oso. And this tzino was a pipeline of light which came from the Ein Sof that was on the outside, surrounding this tzimtzum, into the center of this tzimtzum, inside this tzimtzum, and it filled up this tzimtzum. Aval nisha makom paran bein ha'or shebesoch hachol hazeh ubein ha'or ha'Ein Sof ha'mekifa es hachol hazeh k'nizkan. But there was an empty space between this void and inside this tzimtzum, and the Ein Sof ha'mekifa ha'chol hazeh nizkar, meaning there was space on the sides, on the right, on the left, so to speak, of this kav that went in. It did not touch or fill up the tzimtzum completely. There was still tzimtzum, there was still a void on the right, on the left, or all surrounding the kav that goes in. Shenitzamtzam el tzadov. V'siyum hakav hazeh lamata eino nogeh gam ken b'Ein Sof atzmo. And also when the kav went into the tzimtzum, didn't reach all the way to the bottom of the tzimtzum, didn't touch the bottom. She'im lo ken yachzor adam l'Otzros Chaim. V'yachzor v'yischaber ha'or hazeh shebesochol im Ein Sof yachad k'brishon. Because if it were not a small kav, if it were a big kav, a wide kav, and a long kav that went down to the other side, it would touch and it would connect at the other side, and it would destroy the whole tzimtzum. The whole tzimtzum would cease to exist because it would be now filled with light of Ein Sof, if the kav were not so small. ועל כן, לא נספשת ונמשך אור הזה ברוחב, אל תוך החול, רק דרך קו דק, אחד לבדו כנזכר. So therefore, this curve, this line of light from the Or Ein Sof, which is on the outside, was not drawn into the tzimtzum in width. It wasn't very wide, it was very thin. ודרך הקו הזה נמשך ויורד אור האין סוף המציל אל תוך החול העוגל הזה שהוא הנצל. And through this curve, the light of the Ein Sof, which is the matzil, which is the creator, goes into the ogel, this circle, this tzimtzum, which is the netzal, which is the first thing which is created, or the fundamentals for creation, which is the tzimtzum. And therefore, or through this kav, which is going into the tzimtzum, the matzil and the netzal, the creator and the created, meaning Hashem, the Or Ein Sof, and the creations, what is inside the tzimtzum, can now connect and attach to one to another through this kav, through this line, which is light, which comes from the Or Ein Sof, which is outside, and goes into the tzimtzum, which is connected to the creator, to create the creations, which is inside the tzimtzum. So through the kav, we connect to Hashem. All the creations connect to Hashem. There's no other connection between the creations and the creator aside from this kav. Now, even though all the Atzilus, meaning all creation, all of the tzimtzum, and everything inside of it was circle, meaning the tzimtzum was circle, and Ein Sof was surrounding it in all sides, or surrounding the tzimtzum on all sides equally. That place where the kav is attached to the Or Ein Sof, where the kav is attached to the Or Ein Sof at the top, that's called the top. And everything that's not close to the place where the attachment of the kav and the Or Ein Sof is at the top is called the bottom. And through this distinction, we now have a place called the top of Atzilus, top of creation, and the bottom of creation. Meaning, through the fact that the kav is only connected at one side, and not connected at all sides or at both sides, the top and the bottom, we now have a place that we could call the top of creation. Even though creation is a ball, shape of a ball, and a ball you could roll around and it's equal on all sides. Here it's not exactly equal on all sides, since we have now a kav that goes into the creation. So we have a line coming into this ball, and this line is attached at a certain point. This place where this line is attached, the kav is attached, is now called the head of Atzilus, or the top of Atzilus. And all the rest is called the bottom of Atzilus. Because if we didn't have it like this, and if it wasn't attached at one point, if the kav was not attached at one point to the Or Ein Sof, if it was either attached at many points, or it was in some other different form, then we wouldn't have a concept of malo, mata, rosh, raglayim, batzilus. We wouldn't have a concept of top and bottom, or head and feet, which is a similar concept in Atzilus. We wouldn't have these ideas.